come on.
Okay. Well, we're waiting for Matt to come on live. He's having a little glitch.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. It's me, Matt Slick. You're listening to Matt Slick Live. We had a little bit of a tech issue on my audio here, not on the radio side, but on the computer side. So hopefully that's working fine. You can let me know in the text. And if you want to give me a call, as usual, it's easy to do. Just dial 877-207-2276, and then we can get to you. Things like that. Also, if you want to email me, that's easy to do as well. Just send an email to info@carm.org. info@carm.org, and you can put the subject line radio comment, radio question, something like that, so we can get to them. Hope you guys all had a good weekend. I worked, except for Sundays. I work 6 days a week, and so I worked pretty well. Did some stuff, and I'm going to tell you about that. What I did, I got a system going. I got a system going of doing videos. I got 1-minute videos that I started releasing on Facebook and YouTube, and I've got to get them into other venues and things like that. So hopefully it's all working. And if you are interested, if you're interested in checking them out, you can go to carm.org/1, just ONE. It'll forward you to a page and stuff like that. And I've got some 1-minute videos I've been doing for a while, but then I stopped because it got so many other things going. But I just did some on Eastern Orthodoxy. I released 3, and I've got 11 more to do, or to release. I've already done 14 videos on Eastern Orthodoxy, and I hope to be able to do a lot more and just do a lot of stuff on exposing the errors of Eastern Orthodoxy. And I mean, there's a lot of them. I got 1-minute videos on doctrine, on Catholicism, and I'll be doing other stuff as well. I love doing this kind of stuff. I love working on the truth of who Christ is and what the true gospel is. And hopefully people will come to believe in that true gospel. That's what you want. Have them believe that, not what they do in their false churches. There are a lot of false churches out there. There's a lot of heresies. The devil is always working, seeking to imitate Christianity, to imitate the truth, and try and get people to believe things that are just not true, close to the gospel, but not really the gospel. That is something that's happening quite a bit. All right. Now, if you want, like I said, you can give me a call, 877-207-2276. Let's get on the air with Jermaine from California. Jermaine, welcome, buddy. You're on the air.
Hey, Matt. I've been checking out your videos. I'm going to give you some feedback a little later on.
Sure.
But
yeah.
My question is Genesis chapter 22, verse 2.
Okay.
Where I guess the verse reads, you take your son, your only son, whom you love. And I know there's more to it, but I've heard some people try to use that as a division of the type of love that he may have had between Isaac and Ishmael, and justify some things that I don't think are really explained in Scripture. But when he says you're the only son you love, maybe you could explain that, because it was clear that he did love Ishmael, and he felt a bit emotional about having to kind of say goodbye, but it doesn't necessarily elaborate on that. So could you maybe break that down for us?
God is addressing him and saying your only son, and it's typological of the future son of Jesus, because Jesus said in John 8:56, Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it and was glad. So what he's saying is that Abraham rejoiced to see that day that's interesting, of who Christ was, because Abraham and Isaac took 3 days to get to the place of the sacrifice. Jesus was in the grave 3 days. They caught a ram caught in a thicket of thorns. Jesus wore a crown of thorns. When they asked, where's the sacrifice? God says God will provide for himself the sacrifice. Things like this. So what he's saying, you're only begotten, because it's relating to the issue of the only begotten Son, Jesus Christ. And that's That's what's going on. It doesn't mean he doesn't love the other. It's God calling attention to the prophetic nature and institution of what is happening there in the issue of typological prophetic representation. That's what's going on. Okay.
Okay, that sounds pretty clear to me. It's just I've heard some people stop in that verse and say, "Oh, see, that he only loved Isaac." Like, well, that's clearly not true. So there's obviously a lot more to that. But yeah, that explains it very well.
Yeah, and let's see if I've studied this this thing. I'm trying to find it on Carm. I think it's under typology. Let me see if I can get to it. I'm trying to find a more exhaustive. Here we go. Let me try this. Let's see. Typology. I think that's where it's found. Where Isaac. Oh, man. Maybe Charlie's got it before I do. He often gets things before I do, and he puts stuff in there. Because I did an in-depth study of this a long time ago. Let me try it this way. Abraham and Isaac. Let's try this. And then I can go through a bunch of stuff. Why did God tell Abraham to kill his son Isaac? Let's see if this has it. Yes, it does. Okay. So both Jesus and the Son are called the only begotten. Both were offered on a hill, and some theologians think it's this very same hill. There's some reasons for that. They both took a donkey to the place of sacrifice. In Genesis 22:3, Jesus came in on a donkey. Two men went with them, went with Isaac. So it says in Genesis 22:3, so Abraham rose early in the morning and saddled his donkey and took two of his young men with him and Isaac, his son. So there were two with on the hill where Jesus was crucified. It took 3 days to get to the hill, and Jesus was in the grave 3 days. Both sons, Isaac and Jesus, carried wood on their back up the hill. And I already said earlier, when they asked, where's the sacrifice? It says God will provide for himself the lamb. And it was caught there in the thicket of thorns. Both sons were offered on the wood. A ram in a thicket of thorns, Jesus bore a crown of thorns. It was a prophecy, the seed will be multiplied. With Jesus, we are his children, his offspring by adoption. And Isaac had many children. Abraham went down, it says in Genesis 22:19, it just says Abraham went down. It doesn't say the son Isaac went down. Well, this is representative of Christ not coming down from the cross. And then I went down to the well, and the servant, Holy Spirit called the servant, gets a bride for the son at the well. Now, I've actually drank out of that very well. It's an ancient well. It's the well that was here in Genesis 24. And it's also the well of when Jesus was there in John 4 with the woman who, getting water out of the well. And so I've been to Israel, and I think it was in the West Bank or where we were. We had to go in there and drink water out of the well. That's just a nice little brag. And it also says, get a bride for the beautiful virgin. The bride was a beautiful virgin, Genesis 24:16. This is a virgin bride for the son Isaac. We are considered the virgin bride of the Lord Jesus because of the purity we have in Christ. And then the servant offered the bride 10 gifts, and there are 10 charismatic gifts offered to the Christian church, the bride of Christ. So this typologically is there. It's why did God tell Abraham to kill his son Isaac? And that's what it is. That's the whole thing. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. It's a fascinating study. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah. And so the only begotten is typological of that, because Jesus is called the only begotten. And so is the son Isaac. And that's it. That's what's going on. It's cool stuff. I love that stuff. Okay. Sound good?
All right. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Appreciate it, though.
All right, man. God bless. All right. Hey, we have wide open lines. If anybody wants to give me a call, it's easy. All you have to do is dial 877-207-2276. You can give me a call. and we can blab and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, looking at that, only begotten son. Yep. Okay. So, okay, what I was saying before the caller is that I spent, let's see, Friday and Saturday. It wasn't on the air Friday. We had a medical thing had to get to and take care of that, and so that's why I wasn't on Friday. Um, my wife, and stuff like that. And so I worked in the evening, and when I got back, and then on Saturday I worked a great deal, uh, getting some videos ready. What I had to do was go into OBS and do the videos there, put them into a program, analyze the program, do speech analysis on it, then go through, put in graphics, then do some other stuff that I had to do that just, well, hopefully made everything look good. And then I did 14 of these. And this morning I released three on YouTube and Facebook. And so hopefully, I'll get more of those out tonight. Maybe do 3 a day or something like that for a while. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos on Eastern Orthodoxy, Catholicism, Christian thought, just various things. I'll be getting into a whole bunch of stuff. Let's get. Oh, they're coming in really quickly. Some callers. If you want, you can email me at info@carm.org, info@carm.org. Put in the subject line radio comments or radio question, and we can get to it. All right. So, also, if you want to give me a call, the number is 877-207-2276. Not sure who or what this is. Let's just jump on the air. Welcome. You are on the air. Are you there? Hello? Or maybe we're having a phone problem. I don't know. Could be.
Hello?
There you go. You're on the air. Yes. Well, what's your name?
Hi, I had a few questions.
Sure.
Porter.
Okay, Porter.
I just have two questions.
Mhm.
The first one is, I just wanted to ask, in my opinion, I believe abortion is murder, but I have some people in the church that don't think it is, and I just wanted your opinion on it.
I would agree. It's killing of the unborn human life. Yep. That's right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what's your other question? You said you had another question?
Yes. The other question is like using contraception, is that considered a sin? Because like you're preventing a life from being produced?
No, I don't see it being a sin because contraception in itself is not simply a simple thing. I've had this discussion with many people before. What if you are in a concentration camp, you and your wife? Do you, you've been imprisoned? Do you go ahead and have children? Well, of course not. So you would abstain from certain things, and that is a form of contraception. And so it's not that it's automatically wrong to not have children. And contraception, as long as it doesn't abort a fertilized egg, is permissible. And so here's another issue. Like my wife we'll get back from the break and I'll explain about my wife's health and a form of contraception to save her life. I'll talk about that as a reality too. So hold on, okay, buddy? Be right back, folks, after these messages. If you want to give me a call, 877-207-2276. We'll be right back.
Why not give a gift to graduates of lasting value?
This is True Commentary with Stu Epperson, author and host of Truth Talk Live.
Wow, how did these 4 years go by so fast? Whether it's kindergarten, whether it's middle.
someone looks down at their phone. A trail waiting to be walked while someone waits for a latte. This world is full of somewheres waiting for someone just like you. So go see yours at 154 national forests and 20 grasslands. And to learn more, visit nationalforest.org. The National Forest Foundation. See yours somewhere.
It's Matt Slick Live, taking your calls at 877-207-2276. Here's Matt Slick.
Okay, everybody, welcome back to the show. Let's get back on with Porter. All right, I'll close this right here. There we go. Porter, welcome. You're back on the air. Are you there?
I'm here, yeah.
All right. So I was saying, my wife has one of the, seriously, it's not no joke. She has one of the rarest connective tissue disorders in the world. And we were told after her fourth pregnancy, I think it was, because she's been pregnant 5 times actually. And after the last child, the doctor said the next time she gets pregnant, it would risk her life because of her condition. It was getting worse. So now what do we do? Do we just say, oh, we can trust God and we just, whatever? No, I went and got fixed so that I wasn't risking her life. So there's a form of contraception that is biblical. That it's to help, it's to save the life, it's to guard the life of the wife, etc. Okay, make sense?
But like in general, let's say that it's not for that, just like the main purpose is to stop creation, then would it be wrong to use it if it wasn't like medically necessary?
Well, to stop creation, see, God's one who gives life. So I would say that under the right conditions, that a husband and wife can determine and decide not to have children, and there might be reasons for it. Like in our case, for example, we waited until after I got out of the seminary to have children because we wouldn't have been able to work it at that time. There were those who had children while they were in sound, but we decided differently. And there we go. And so without being, I can't get graphic or anything here in the radio, but there's no necessity of having to have children. And there's no necessity of having relations with your spouse. You should, but there's no mandate that you have to do this at a certain rate or a certain whatever by which pregnancy can then be possible. So there's a lot of, I'm going to be very careful here on the radio, a lot of variables here that we could consider. But I don't believe that abstinence, which is a form of contraception, is wrong. I don't believe that doing preventative measures to save life is wrong either. And I think we should be wise when we have children, but we should have children if we can, as Christians, if it's possible. That's what I would say, normally speaking. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. I had to be very generic about all of that. There might be children listening and stuff like that. And, got to get on that. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Have a great day.
All right, man. You too. God bless. All right. Now, if you want to give me a call, you can. It's 720-722-76. I want to hear from you. And you can also email me at info@carm.org. Contraception is a good topic. I like. Yeah, I like good topics like that. And but I'll tell you, there is just so much to study. That's right, Joanne. That's right. Talking about when I did get fixed in the text, it's kind of a well-known story around my friends. The anesthesia didn't work, and I finished it without anesthesia. So I don't know how many guys right now are going, but I did. I finished it without anesthesia. I remember it. It was, let's just say, traumatizing, but I needed to make sure my wife's life was guarded. And so if she go to births, she had 4 births, 1 miscarriage, and stuff. So if she could do that, I could stay there and take it, and I did. Okay, enough of that topic. All right. Hey, if you want to give me a call, 877-207-2276. Let's get to Cruz from Durham, North Carolina. Welcome. You're on the air.
Hey there, Matt.
Hey.
While you're on the subject of Isaac
Mm-hmm.
and the a type of Christ,
Uh-huh.
I'd like for you to elaborate on what Paul's talking about of Isaac being the child of the promise.
Yes. Because God promised that through Isaac, the nations and the Redeemer would come, not through Ishmael. Ishmael was a product of Hagar, who was really back at the. So when Sarah gave Hagar to him to bear children, this was her work, not God's work. God had promised that they would have children. She was, and so what she did was here. Now the concept in Jewish embryology, let's just say, was that a seed you might hold in your hand, you could plant in the dirt. It doesn't matter where you plant it. It's there, your neighbor's yard, it could be right here in front of you in their house. That was the concept, was a man's seed just needed a place to grow. And so it was permissible, I'm not saying right, but that what we would do is plant that seed in different roots so they could grow, and it was his offspring. If the idea here, the male seed is what makes your descendancy and your childness, then in the mentality of Sarah, the idea, well, it's the husband's seed. It just happened to be over there, makes my child. This was a normal way of thinking, and to them, to what they understood. So when God says, take a son, it's because Ishmael was not the child of the promise. The promise was to Abraham and Isaac, and she and he went to their own measures to ensure it. And they didn't rely on God's promise, but they tried to force God's promise by doing something themselves. And hence we have Ishmael who went out and etc. And the time between their births was 13 years. Now, biblically speaking, 13 is the number of sin. And what we mean by that is that 8 is the number of new beginnings, 12 is government, 7 is perfection, things like this. And so 13 is the number of sin. So in Hebrew and Greek, when the letters are written, words, they're also numbers. Letters are also numbers. If we had 1 and an L might be the same, or a 0 and an O, they're just identical. But they, different contexts, we understand what they are. So, but in Greek and Hebrew, all letters are also numbers. When they write words, they're also writing numbers. So when they would, for example, I haven't verified this, I just trust that the experts know that when the pericope of Satan, for example, in Isaiah 14, a section that talks about him, all the numbers added up are divisible by 13 exactly, with nothing left over. This kind of thing happens. Well, anyway, 13 is the number of sin. Of how many years over there, because they had sinned when they had done this, because they weren't relying on the promise of God. So Ishmael was not the child of promise, it was Isaac who was. Okay.
Yeah, and then Ishmael wound up being the type of flesh coming to battle against the spirit.
Right. That's right. Good for you. Hey, hold on, man. We got a break, so if you want to stay, go ahead. Hey, folks, we'll be right back after these messages. Please stay tuned. Give me a call, 877-207-2276. Be right back.
Some kids never smile. They're embarrassed by their crooked teeth. They want braces like the other kids, but their families can't afford them. Some may even try to straighten their teeth themselves. That can make everything worse. Luckily, there's Donated Orthodontic Services, a program from the American Association of Orthodontists. It helps provide orthodontic treatment to kids and teens whose families can't afford it. For kids who apply, are approved, and are matched with a volunteer orthodontist, it can be life-changing. Their treatment is in the hands of an expert, a licensed local orthodontic specialist who improves their smiles by correctly aligning teeth and jaws. Some kids think they'll never smile again, but donated orthodontic services may help them smile with confidence. To link to the application and eligibility requirements, visit aaoinfo.org.
As a veteran, you get a lot of advice. Hard to come by. A lot of people imagine themselves in our shoes without understanding the weight on our shoulders. The truth is, if you can understand the pressure of finding your own way after serving in the military. But few isn't none. You've got support. You can't control the chaos, but you can try your way through it. Steady yourself. Take a breath. You're not alone. Learn more at maketheconnection.net.
You know, honey, I think I deserve some kind of. I get glad.
Found out how much our house is going to cost.
Yeah, but then I found us the perfect mortgage. I need more.
Sure, help yourself. But then I found out our perfect house the stuff you can't see, smell, or taste, and it's radioactive, and it's the second leading cause of lung cancer.
True. But then the test and fix a hum with the radon problem.
You did.
Yeah, and then I found out we were going to have a baby. So, you know, your study, it'd be a perfect fit for my mother.
Right. Now I need a phone number to fix a home with a mother-in-law problem.
Hey,
I'm in a pickle. Did you say baby?
do we have any ice cream?
Protect your family from radon. Make your home safer. Call 1-800-SOS-RADON. 1-800-SOS-RADON.
It's Mac Live. Take your calls at 877-207-5876. Here's Max.
All right, gentlemen, welcome back to the show. And let's get back on with Cruz to see if he is still there. Still there, buddy?
Yeah.
All right, man.
Sure am. Thank you.
All right. So, did that help?
Yeah, I just love talking about this and hearing about it. It just really, I just love it. And you know, it's wild that when the two of them were in the desert and she thought they were all going to die, and God said, "No, you're not going to die. I'm going to protect you."
Right.
Matter of fact, he's going to have 12 sons, and he's going to be like a wild kicking ass out in the desert. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen a donkey just run around. They just run around and just kick it, nothing, and
Right.
everything. It doesn't
Right.
even matter. They're just.
Right. Yeah.
But you know, and Paul talks about that Ishmael was actually like a representative of the flesh versus the spirit. You know, the flesh wars constantly against the spirit and knows nothing of the spirit nor can it and all that good stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of typology that goes on in the Bible, and
It's really beautiful, isn't it?
yeah, it is. You know, God knows what He's doing. And I think that people just need to pay attention to what God has done.
Yeah.
Yeah, He does.
Wow.
That's right. Good stuff.
Bye, brother. Thanks, Matt.
All right, man. God bless. Thank you. Okay. All right. Now, I hope the sound's not too overmodulated. We're playing a little bit of sound here. So, all right. Now, I did some research on these 1-minute videos I've been doing. I've been doing a lot more. Let's see how to put this. So certain recommendations are you have 3 seconds to catch someone's attention. And instead of any intros, I just went straight in. It opens up, I'm talking. And asking a question or making a statement and then backing it up and doing all these things in 1 minute or less. No outro, just stuff at the bottom of the 1 minute video. It says for more videos, go to, carm.org/1. And I'm going to be doing a whole bunch like that. So I am curious about feedback. So if you guys are willing to do that, you can go to Facebook. You can go to YouTube and where it released, and you can check them out there. All right, so there's that. Okay, and I'm curious because here's the goal. The goal is to get the videos out for those people who don't like to read, maybe not know how to read because there might be Gen Zers or whatever, but they just like the quick and slow kind of stuff like I do. And that's what we're doing. We're just putting in stuff quick and trying to get as many of these done so quickly that people can go through and see what's going on. So I want you to give some feedback on those. You can do it by sending me emails at info@carm.org, or you can put email, wow, feedback in the comments on YouTube and Facebook. I'm also going to be putting them on other locations as well. It just takes time for me to learn how to do everything, because I can learn to do everything. But teach myself all kinds of new tech whenever I do something new, and it takes me a while to figure it out. But once I get it figured out, then I get it down. So there you go. All right, let's see. There's that, and I don't know if that's any better right there. Okay, now if you have a topic that you are interested in, I would love to hear from you about it, to know what it is that you would like me to cover on the air and or in videos. Videos are where we have to go, and because what's happening is the AIs are now scraping websites. What that means is they just go through, read everything in the website. So you just ask an AI question, it just draws all the information, provides you an answer. It doesn't give you a URL, it just does that. So we're having the CARM website rebuilt, and it should be released in August. And we're talking new tech with new AI integration, with all kinds of stuff into it, a new look. It's going to really be zippity doo dah. It's going to be fast. And what we're hoping to happen, is that we just get it all working out. We can just figure out how to make things so user friendly that people, what they want to do is they want to stay there and explore. That's what we're hoping to be able to figure out and get that going. So I'm hoping that we're going to need your feedback. I'm excited about it. It's cost a lot of money. To get it done, but that's just what we have to do every few years. Like I think about 10 years ago we had a new one built, or 8 years ago, I don't know. So we're just working on it. I think what I'm gonna do now is just get to some of the emails that we've had sent in before, and we can get to some of those regular questions and stuff like that. I think I'll do that right now. We have nobody waiting online. Let me do one more sound adjustment really fast and put this down to there. All right, so tell me how that is. All right, thanks for, that's a big one. I can't get into that. It's a long email. Trying to find short emails. There's a radio question. God deals with man in the fall using federal headship. All right. This makes sense because all men are descended from Adam. Christians come under the headship of Jesus by adoption. Yes and no. But anyway, do you believe 1/3 of the angels fell through individual acts of sin, or were they under the headship of Satan when he said there's no headship of Satan in that sense? It's only dealing with Adam and Jesus. So I believe that God interceded by doing something so that the rest of the angels would not fall. First Timothy 5:21, I think it says by the elect angels. It mentions them. I think that's what's going on there. I also, email goes on. I also noticed that inspired scripture only names Michael and Gabriel, making 3 named angels. That is, that's right. Lucifer, Michael, and Gabriel. In fact, we don't all know who Lucifer is, and Michael is the warrior angel, and Gabriel is the messenger angel. So what happens is Gabriel is the one who delivers messages, delivers it to Mary, and said this is what's going to be happening. And Michael is the one who's known to fight and stuff like that. All right, so there you go there. Let's see, delete this one and get to another one. How about, okay, what is your view of Michael Heiser's teaching on the Divine Council? I've gone over this before. I think it's dangerous. I think that what he's presenting is probably accurate, but how it's perceived by a lot of people is grossly misrepresented. I've heard that Michael Heiser, I haven't talked to the guy, I can't know, so I don't know, but it looks like he's a strict monotheist. But the Council of the Gods, and it looks like the Divine Ones, is being used by Mormons and others to say that there's divinity, there is there's issues like that are problematic. It's hard to get into and explain everything because I don't want to do that too much. I don't want to get into too many different areas where we can get into the cracks and crannies of theological possibilities in that. See, here's another email. Will God have a good person turn bad to serve a purpose and then turn him back to do good again? Well, God could do such a thing like that. Has he? We have to define what good person means and what bad person means. And if there's any references anybody wants to look at, then we can examine it in context then. That's what all I can say is that's what we'd have to do. So other than that, I just don't know what to tell you. So we can do that. All right. All right. Let's get to another one. Let's see. How about this? 1 John 5:6. This is the one who came by water and blood, Jesus Christ, not the water only, but the water and the blood is the Spirit of witness, because the Spirit is the truth. Oh, please explain. It's 1 John 5:6. Let me get over there and let's see. Come on, there we go. Okay. Didn't enter. 1 John 5:6. This is what came by the water and the blood. Always got to read context. This is a verse I've had to wrestle with before. Is Jesus? He's the Son of God who came by water and blood. Verses like this are tough because there's a lot of theology that could be read into it. All right. So when it says water, there's a break. So I'll get my thoughts together after the break because it's important to kind of look into a couple of different theological venues or avenues. I might want to go down here for a little bit, and it'll be a good break, talk after the break. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages. Please stay tuned.
My husband, Alex Hussey, was hit by an IED in Afghanistan.
I was playing man on foot patrol and I stuck on the bomb. Lost the legs and left hand in an explosion.
And he suffered a severe traumatic brain injury.
As America's Veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
There are so many mountains to climb, and we do it together.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories great and small.
Seeing Alex learning how to snow ski, that's life-changing.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Alex did it. He skied down this mountain. That's something he won't forget.
With the right support, there are no limits.
To see him on that slope and smiling like that, we'll be taking this home.
It's meant so much. Thank you, DAV.
Alex Hussey, thank you for your service. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Hi, I'm Juan Rivas. I'm a home builder, and I have a question for all of you out there who are building your dream home. Are you making plans so your home will have healthier indoor air? It's an important question because there's a deadly invisible radioactive gas that can seep into homes from underground. It's radon gas, and when you breathe it in, it can cause lung cancer. Among non-smokers, radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer. The good news is that it's simple to build a home, so radon is not a problem. Building your home radon resistant is a good, inexpensive way to stop radon from entering your home. Any builder can do it. So protect your family. Talk to your builder. Tell them you want a healthier, safer dream house. You'll have better dreams.
Learn more. Visit the EPA at epa.gov/radon. That's epa.gov/radon. This public service announcement is brought to you by the EPA, who does not endorse this particular builder or any other commercial enterprise.
May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Because the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. And that is the voice of truth. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Because the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. And that is the voice of truth.
It's Matt Slick Live, taking your calls at 877-207-2276. Here's Matt Slick.
Everybody, welcome back to the show. Hope you can hear me okay, hope everything's okay, and go and give me a call. It's easy. 877-207-2276. I'm going to hear from you. Give me a call. You can also email me at info@arm.org. So, go. So we have the new website built. Hopefully in August it'll be released, and hopefully you'll like that. So that's happening. Also, I'm doing 1-minute videos. I really do want feedback on those. So if you were to go to carm.org/1, the new ones I've done are Eastern Orthodox section, which I released today. So I would like the feedback on that. And that's it. So that's what I'm hoping. All right. And there you go. So if you want to give me a call, like I said, 877-207-2276. And let's get on with Tom from Raleigh, North Carolina. Tom, welcome. You're on the air.
Hi, Matt. I have a question on 1 Corinthians 14:34, where Apostle Paul is saying that women should remain silent in the churches. I've heard different things. When I was in Greece, we were in Corinth, and we saw the church, and they said it was a 2-level church, and the women would shout down things to the pastor, and he was saying that they were being told not to do that. Other people say, where it says the woman is to be in submission, so she can't speak, and it applies to us today. I'm just wondering, historically and modernly, what do you think of that statement, and how should we interpret it today?
Yeah, it's a tough one. There are different theories about what it means, how it works, and I was just recently in Corinth and Thessalonica and got to see the ruins and stuff like that. But okay, so the word here is interesting because it's in the Greek sigao, which means absolute silence. Now I'm going to take a sidestep here and go to 1 Timothy 2:12. And it says, do not allow a woman to teach or exercise authority, but remain quiet. Now that word is hesukia. So you can be even more quiet. You can be silent, quieter. That's hesukia. But sigao means absolute silence. So what's going on? There are just theories that have been offered. We don't know exactly what's going on. One possibility is women are not to speak in churches ever at all. It doesn't seem to be the case because we have occasions, like for example, in 1 Corinthians 14, someone comes in, they speak in a tongue, have a word of knowledge. Nothing is there differentiating between males and females, since the gifts of the Spirit move upon both males and females. So it wouldn't seem to fit that idea. And the other one is that, just what you said, that in the culture at that time, that it was improper for women to speak up in public settings because it was a sign of rebellion against headship in the family. And so it looks like that this is what was being referenced to keep quiet in the church. It's not a doctrinal thing. The way it is in 1 Timothy 2:12, it goes on, it says, but they remain quiet, for it was Adam who was first created. So he ties it in there to the created order. But no such things are done there. But it does say, they're not permitted to speak, but are to subject themselves, just as the law also says. So he's tying that back to the issue of subjection. It looks like to the husband, as is the case in the law, which talks about headship of the male. So it seems to be the case, just seems to be, that I think the best explanation is just what you were saying, is that they were unruly, out of order, speaking up because they were segregated. Women would be one place, men in another place. Hey, what did he say? What did he say? Or they would shout in a new freedom in Christ, be disruptive, showing disrespect to the husbands and to the culture of the time. And so Paul says, you got to keep quiet. You can't do that. And that seems to be what it is. Okay.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, when I read 1 Corinthians 14, I almost collectively think Paul is out of his mind with some of the things he's saying, the way the church is to be run with the gifts. And then he makes a statement about women. And I mean, the whole chapter 14 is very difficult for me to deal with. Anyway, that's a different topic, but
that's okay, because you see, I used to read Paul when I was back in the day when I was a new Christian, and he would damage my faith. Seriously, I would go, he's not helping my faith. He caused me to doubt. And the more I studied, the more I realized, oh my goodness, I just didn't know what was going on. I had ideas, but they were wrong. He did know what he was talking about. So in this one, I would say it's the same kind of a thing. Because Paul did appreciate the women who worked with him. And there's nothing in there about keeping silent, or they can't this or they can't do that. There's Priscilla and Aquila, and they're both praised for working with the church and people. So it looks like what's going on in here is simply the issue of the cultural norms that was out of hand. And you got to understand one thing that Paul would often do is he would write what's called task theology. What's the problem that he's trying to fix? Well, look at the context here. He says, the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. Now, this is working in 1 Corinthians 14 in the issue of the charismatic movement, the charismatic gifts, speaking in tongues, word of knowledge, word of wisdom. Now, all of a sudden, in the culture, women are free in Christ. And not knocking women for this, but like anybody, when you suddenly are released and have a lot of freedom, you can get out of control. And so he says, our God is not a God of confusion, but of peace, as in all the churches of the saints. The women, which is in the context of the church, particularly at Corinth, are to keep silent in the churches. They're not permitted to speak, but are to subject themselves, just as the law also says. If they desire to learn anything, ask their own husbands at home, for it's improper for women to speak in church. And so it looks like what's going on here is the issue being addressed is subjection and the order, and that this was being messed up and violated in at least the cultural norm of that time. And so it seems to be what the best explanation is from the context. Okay?
Okay, yeah, that was another verse which was difficult to understand, that a woman should ask her husband at home. I heard a woman in church kind of laughing about that. I'm in a conservative church too, and she was laughing about that. I guess I have to ask my husband at home. So the whole chapter 14 is challenging to understand.
Yes, it is. But here's something else too. Let's say, me, I'm the Bible answer guy, right? So my wife and I, we go to church. She might have a question. She'll lean over to me and say, "What you said, is that right?" She'll do that to me. So, yeah, it was good. Whatever. I'm not saying we don't all the right answers. But if it says ask at home, then I might say to her, "Sorry, you can't ask me any questions in church, nor while we're driving home. Once we get home, you can answer. You can ask." Because it says ask them at home. Now, that's another thing, because that means they would walk to a place of worship. And now, you're walking home and you can't ask a question there? What's going on? It has to do with the issue of order in God's creation, and that it was being apparently it was being drastically abused. Because think about it, they're walking home. Well, sometimes how it would work back in the culture, women would walk behind the men. And that's just how it was. And they didn't talk much because it wasn't their place to talk much. They would be with the children. Now, some people may say, well, that's insulting. Well, I don't know if it's insulting or not. Men might be up in the front leading. They might be up in the front talking with other men. But it was just that culture at that time. Women weren't addressed and spoken to. So in John chapter 4, when Jesus is speaking to the woman at the well, that's kind of taboo. You don't do that kind of a thing culturally when Jesus did it. And that woman probably was a prostitute of some sort, a woman of ill repute, because she's by herself. Because normally women would go in groups for safety reasons, but she was by herself. And then, that's probably because of her immorality or reputation for it, and because obviously Jesus knows she's living with a guy who's not her husband, and then he's talking to her. It's like people on the outside would be thinking, what the heck is going on? I thought he was spiritual. You can't be talking to her. It's improper to do that. Well, Jesus broke norms. So I'm just trying to lay the cultural context down. It was very strict. And so we don't believe that kind of stuff now. So women can certainly ask questions in church. They can get up and do announcements. I don't have any problem with that. They can't preach or teach or be elders, not be a spiritual authority. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's understandable.
But what if a woman gets up and does a word of knowledge? I have no problem with that, as long as it's interpreted. So there you go. And this, what it seems to be, is that in the cultural norm, ask at home is completely culturally based. Because like I said, they would walk behind their husbands, usually with the children. They would walk home, and then it would be the time for discussions. It seems to me that it's anchored in cultural issues. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, all of that helps and puts me much more at ease. So thank you, Matt.
You're welcome. All right. Well, God bless.
Okay. You're right.
All right. All right. Now let's get to Jeff from Gastonia. Welcome. You're on the air.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. Hang on in there, man. Hang on in there. What do you got?
Okay, I have a question for you. When a Christian dies, does their spirit immediately go up to heaven, or do they stay in the ground until the resurrection?
They go be with the Lord. 2 Corinthians 5:8, to be absent from the body is to be home from the Lord. With the Lord. 2 Corinthians 5:8.
I appreciate it because I heard some controversial preaching the other day from a well-known preacher, and he was talking about what Jesus told the guy on the cross to be with me in paradise today, but then they were saying paradise is a different place than heaven.
Yeah.
And then he gave an example of Jesus saying, when you die, you're done. And so it was like you just stay there until the resurrection. So I wasn't sure.
Yeah, that's heresy.
It had me doubting a little bit.
And that would be a heretical view. Who was teaching this? It was well
I
known.
can't remember. I was up driving and it was on the radio, and I didn't have time to look up the scripture and stuff. So
yeah,
but it was a well-known man. But
okay, well, let me just say the biblical position is, we only have, let me go through this quickly. We only have less than a minute. The biblical position is that when you die, you're still conscious. You go to 2 Corinthians 12:2-4. Paul says he knows a guy, whether in the body or out of the body, he doesn't know. He went to heaven and heard thoughts. He was separated from his body. 2 Corinthians 5:8, to be absent from the body, to be home with the Lord. If, however, some people want to call it soul sleep, then we have a problem, because then that would mean the human nature of Jesus went into a state of soul sleep between his death and resurrection. And the problem there, I can get more detail tomorrow, we have more time. The problem there is that it would violate the hypostatic union on who the person of Christ is. I can get into the details and connect the dots tomorrow. I call back and I can go into why that's a serious problem with that view. Okay? Okay.
yes, sir. Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much. God bless, man. God bless. All right. Hey, folks, we are out of time. The music's going to start in about 5 seconds. May the Lord bless you. And by his grace, we're back on the air tomorrow, which is Wednesday. Have a great evening. Check out the videos been releasing, carm.org/1, particularly the ones on East. Give me some feedback. Hey, everybody. God bless. We'll talk to you tomorrow. All right.
Okay, I got your audio here.
Okay, can you hear me, Charlie?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Okay.
I have a thought, Matt.
Yeah.
So when you were adjusting the mic that you put in your ear from, for the audio ratio, when you was adjusting that and lifting it up, oh man, the sound went wonderful. And then when
Really?
and then when it laid back down, then that's when things changed. So I'm wondering if it has to do with that cord, since it's only when we go live anyway that this issue is happening.
Well, you know what it could be? Let me show you. This is the microphone, all right? And so it's see how long it is, all right? So to put it in my ear, it has to go in comfortably because the thing is around it. And so it's long and it hurts my ear and I have to adjust it. It's difficult to get it perfect. So maybe we can figure out sometime how to get back on the box, because it stopped working for some reason. Remember, we had a problem.
Yeah.
And so then this was a solution. We couldn't get it to work. So what I've actually looked for to solve this problem is a low profile lapel mic, so that it's the head is as small as possible.
Yep.
And that's what I've been trying to find. It's something that's really small that would fit in there comfortably. But I can't seem to find anything like that.
That was the one thing, all the adjustments you were doing, and then when you went to adjust it and you lifted it up, you didn't take it out of your ear, but you just lifted up the cord and you lifted it up probably to adjust it in your ear, and I was like, oh, this is beautiful. And then it dropped back down. I was like, oh crap, here we go again.
Okay, so maybe that's what it is something as simple as that. And yeah, so I'm trying to find other mics that I could maybe look at that are of a small segment.
Joanne says you need bigger ears.
I have small ears anyway. I do. I've always had small ears. So, but they're starting to get bigger because the ears in men grow when they get older,
Oh, I thought that was just the ear hair.
That too. That too. Yeah. That too. That's right.
But that was amazing to me, because I'm like, oh, we're trying so much stuff, and I'm like, that did something. That tells me that that's where it's coming from, where we're having our problems.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then, we're just working on stuff and trying to figure things out. It's all we can do. All right. Anybody have any comments or questions?
There was a comment that, and somebody, he's a fan chaplain or something at a place where, a homeless shelter. Because he's asking for you to talk about Seventh-day Adventists, because they always slip through the cracks. So just keep that in mind if you got something to talk about.
Okay. Yeah, you could always type it in there and go, hey, do SDA. I could talk about that. Yeah.
I think I did type it in there.
I don't.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll find out ways to keep bugging you so that you see stuff.
Well, because you're female and I'm married to a female, the don't listen to wife thing kind of goes out a little bit too far sometimes.
That doesn't matter when I'm typing it in.
There's probably a relationship to it. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
It's okay. It's okay. But yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. I mean, we always talk about the Roman Catholicism and the Eastern Orthodox and Mormonism and stuff. But yeah, sometimes Jehovah Witnesses, but we don't talk about SDA very often.
No, we don't. But if it needs to be done, we will. When people just give me a call. You know, we can ask. Did you guys check out the videos? I know that Joanne did. She liked it. I don't know if you guys heard.
I have not, but she did say she'd like to know, like, it labeled 1, 2, or 3. So when she shares it, she's doing them in order, whatever that means.
No, there's no particular order. It's just doing it. That's all. Just getting them in there and getting them done. That's all. Okay. Let's see. I guess that's it then. Nobody's coming in.
Yeah, I had a friend ask me something about Job, is whether or not he was a real man or an allegory.
Sure, he was real.
Yeah, he was real. I mean, if you go to Ezekiel chapter 14, starting at verse 20, you'll see him say, even though Noah, Daniel, and Job were in its midst. Okay, talking about these three people. So Job is as real as Daniel and Noah. Yeah. So, and that's just a point where I printed up some stuff for him when I see him at church this week.
Good.
James 5:11 even mentions Job and
good. Okay.
And how the Lord was dealing with him. So yeah, he's a real guy.
Good.
I've heard that stuff with Lot's wife as well, but Jesus mentions Lot's wife.
Mm-hmm.
So that says something right there.
Well, yeah, Jesus endorsed the Old Testament canon. And how did they list it, Matt? From what to what?
From Genesis to Chronicles.
Right. That's how they put their Old Testament canon together. That doesn't end like ours does with what's our modern one end with?
Right.
Yeah. So he endorsed that, so we can rely on it as being authentic. And of course, he said that Old Testament canon, these are these that testify of me.
Yeah,
so that's a pretty good endorsement right there.
It's good.
Now, doesn't Paul in Romans, doesn't he quote things from Job?
I don't know.
I just looked up something that says Paul quotes Job twice, Romans 11:35, and I'm quoting Job 41:3, and in 1 Corinthians 3:19 he quoted Job 5:13. I haven't verified that, but I'm just seeing that.
Yeah.
Let's see. James 5:11.
I wouldn't take advice from his wife.
No.
Didn't she tell him to curse God and die?
Yeah, not a good not a good thing. Yeah. No. Yeah, James 5:11 talks about Job. Yep. Oh. All right. So give me feedback on the videos if you guys want to watch one or two. Let me know and stuff like that because it helps. I wonder if I could get a desk mic that would be really high quality, just right there instead of lapel mic.
Well, that's what a lot of people do on YouTube that I watch.
Yeah, but would it fit for what we do though?
Well, right. Well, because our issue is we've got stuff from the radio show coming through.
I got one of those hanging right there. See it?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
got a desk mount, but I pound my desk a lot and it distorts everything
Yeah.
in the background. When
Well, the only reason why Matt has a lapel mic in his ear is the audio from the radio show.
Mhm.
Yeah. Trying to figure things out, how to do stuff. Yeah, it's tough. Anyway. All right. Guess I'm going to get going then, okay? And
You said you were going to release some more articles. You had 3 more ready to go.
I got 11 more
Oh, okay.
videos, but articles, no.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just got to get those going. It's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
I'm looking for them in the menu. Where do I go? 1 minute videos?
No, just go to /1, and then it'll then go to the Eastern Orthodox section, and that's where I did the new ones. You can check them out.
/1. I got no results.
What? /1. Carm.org/1.
Oh.
ONE. The word one.
I can find them. Gives us 3 options. We can go to Christianity, Eastern Orthodox, or Roman Catholicism.
Right. There's a link.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. And so you can see what I did. And it's the Eucharist. Oh, I'm going to make that bold or whatever. The Eucharist. There's a YouTube and Facebook, whatever. So interested in feedback, and that's it. So let me know.
Eucharist and salvation. Okay.
Yeah, those are the only ones I have released. Yeah, so far. There's a lot to do.
All right. I'll post them in YouTube.
All right. Sounds good.
Or I'll post them on Hoots. So they'll go to everybody to look at. All right.
All right. Sounds good then. Okay. All right. I'm going to get going, go rest, and get back to work.
All right. Well, thanks for the day. It was interesting.
Good. I'm glad.
Get that sound nailed down.
Well, we'll keep working it. We'll figure it out. That's all we can do.
God bless.
All right. God bless.